Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 11th of May 2023. Today we're going to take a look at a few things. I'm just going to show you an update that I just released in the public version. It's pretty awesome, and it's something I've been trying to quantify for quite some time. So I've had it on my whiteboard, and I've been talking about different ways to kind of program the logic behind it. And I've had a few tests, and I finally found one that works, and I wanted to show the user visually what was happening, and so they could see exactly why, rather one of the several reasons that an area of supply and demand was qualified. And so what I've done, you'll notice now that in the configuration of the software there's a new setting. So if you go like this, if you go to the supply and demand section, and there's a new setting here called enable backtest mode, and this is turned on by default. And it doesn't mean it's in backtesting mode. This simply means that it's showing you stuff that it otherwise wouldn't show, which is essentially this line. Okay, and so what that means is when it's enabled, which it is by default, as I mentioned, it shows you an area which is qualified for several reasons. One of the reasons is it managed to move below a significant market structure. So price came up here, we bounced, we sat down on it, and then we moved through it. Okay, and so this area here, this is the top of the area, okay, and it is pointing to the significant market structure that this area of supply was able to remove. We had another one here. We had this one here. Okay, this is a high price. They retreated from this area. That's a big deal. It's important to know why. Okay, we formed this area of demand. It was qualified for several reasons according to our quality checklist, and prices managed to trade above it. Okay, so that one is marked off as well. We also have a couple here. We've got this one here. So we had this area here. Prices went above it, qualifying this area, and we had a few tests of that area before prices finally moved through it. So if we just keep going a little bit, so we can find some other ones. We've got this one here. Okay, there's a significant low. Prices. Okay, so price retreated from this area historically a couple of times actually, and then we form this area of distribution, and then we cut through it. Okay, that's a big deal. What happens? We can expect the area that was able to cause prices to trade below that area to test. Okay, so we had a nice test there. We had another one up here. We had a low just there. Price came, we bounced, we moved away from that area, we distributed, we cut away, prices came up to that area here. We have another one here. Okay, prices came up to this area, we turned away, we had support becomes resistance, price finally made through it. This area is qualified, taking a trade here. This one here, we have the low, prices came down to this area, we bounced, we finally traded below it, okay, telling us that this area is strong, sell, sell. Okay, and these happen all the time. We had another one here. Okay, prices came up to this area, we came down, we accumulated, we traded beyond that area. Okay, this one did not work. They don't all work. We had this area here, test, prices right here, traded beyond that area. Prices came back once, twice. Okay, we have another one here, tested once, twice. Another one here, tested once, twice. This one here, tested once here on the departure, sorry, on the very end. Another one here, tested several times. This one here, tested on the release, tested once again, tested here, once, twice, three times. Tested once, twice, three times. Tested once. Tested three times. This one did not work. This one was tested one time. And so you can see these are really good areas, and they work way better than the historical areas that the software was normally showing. And so the whole idea here, I think it's a hypothesis that is yet to be tested, is that we take trades with a very high risk reward. Because typically when prices come up to these areas, we have these big retreats. We had a multiple times the size of this area. We had this one here. We didn't get quite close to it, but we had a huge departure. Here we had a huge departure. This one we had a really big departure. This one, oops, this one here we had a really big departure. This one here, big departures, big departure. And so you only have to win 30% of the time. So let's just consider for one moment that we put this as a default configuration for the buy and sell zone robot, where we take maybe 1.5 times the size of the zone, and we take 3 or 4 times risk reward. Okay, and I think that this thing would be in some serious profit, even though we're only going to be taking maybe winners 25% or 30% of the time, because we're getting some really, really nice reactions. Okay, this one here, tiny little zone. This is like a 10 to 1, boom. You know, this one here, I mean, tiny little zone, price came up to it, that's like a 30 to 1. Obviously you're not getting all of it, but I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that these levels are pretty remarkable. Okay, here, loser. This one, huge winner. This one, really nice winner. This one, that's probably a loss there, but it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I look forward to getting this into the new version of the buy and sell zones, because I think it's going to be a really nice addition. Yes, and so this is a pretty fascinating update, and I've been toying with it for quite a while. Rather, I've been toying with a way to solve this problem for quite a while, and it's looking pretty good. There are a few different options, configuration options, that I just want to show you. So we have the one that we just spoke about, which was enable test mode. Then we have another one, which is opposing market structure significance. And so this is set to 3. But let's say, for example, we set this to 8. Or yeah, let's just say 8. That means that let's just find an example. Let's let it flick on. That means that this one here, that was removed by this area here, has to have been respected for a longer period of time. Okay, we have this one here. There was a lot of respect on either side, and then price finally traced through it. Big reaction. We have another one here. This one here is the low that was broken by this area of supply. Big reaction. This one here, we have a lot of respect for it on either side. Yeah, a minor reaction. Another one here. Big reaction. This is a tiny little area, no reaction. Okay, and so you're going to see these a lot. Here we have another one here, small reaction, no reaction, not yet tested. And so these are going to kind of show up all over the place. But we don't care. We don't want to look at. We don't want to take all of them. But what we do want to do is we want to try and pay attention to what's going on with the flows of this. And so if we combine this with, example, a currency strength, well, then you can trade in line with the flows. And let's say that you don't want to use currency strength, you just want to use market structure. Well, then you can do something that's quite interesting. Let me have a 2-chart configuration here. This is the hourly, and this is a 15. Let's just put on pound Aussie here. And so you take this one over here, and you notice that the direction that it's going in. Where's it going? You can't really see there. The 4-hour, where are we going? We're going up. We're wriggling higher. So you have a bias on this 15-minute chart. Or maybe from the 4-hour you go to the 30-minute chart. But we want to look for this bias. Let me update this one. Okay, good. Okay, so we're paying attention to these areas. And so we're not going to take all of them. We're just going to take the ones that are in alignment with the ones that we want to trade. 5, that's fine. So I'm jumping all over the place. I need to enable manual bar count. So if you put this to 3,000, well, then we're going to be able to see many, many more zones historically over to the left, so we can scroll back and do our back testing. Hence the expression enable back testing mode. So we had this one here. Prices are going down. We move this low, selling here. We have a level, a high level, a failure, departure. So this would be an interesting area to buy at later, knowing that on the 4-hour chart we are eventually going to continue to wriggle higher. As you can see, the pound is above the Australian dollar. The COT data is also telling us that we have maybe less bulls involved in the Australian dollar. So there are many ways that you can quantify whether or not to buy an asset. Okay, we had this one here, tested several times. This one here, tested several times. This one here, tested one time, and whoa, huge fall there. This one here, close on the blue candle. This area is qualified. You sell here, huge trade. Another one here, loser. Another one here, loser. I mean, who cares if you get a loser? You're losing one here, you're losing one here. You're getting, let's say, 5 here, which would bring you down to here. The price went even further. Okay, there's so many incredible examples of this, and I just think it's pretty fascinating. This one here took out this high here, gapped into it, and we went higher. We had this one here, we came down, we went high, we came all the way down to here before we spiked higher and then continued lower. So these happen absolutely everywhere. This one here, we were all the way up here. This one here, we qualified here, we pulled back, we went all the way up here. We had another one here which took out this low. Prices went all the way down here on the release. So lots and lots and lots of examples of this working. Let's have a look at, for example, I don't know, let's have a look at gold. Okay. So we got one here. Okay, prices formed this high, we came down, beautiful pattern. That's a place I want to get busy with when price comes down there. Still waiting for that one to fill. Yeah, and notice as well that not all of them work. And so you could ask yourself the question, well, when do we know which ones are going to work? We have to pay attention to how the market is behaving. And you can see here we have, what do we have here? We have a range. Okay, and so you want to be trading, selling high and buying low in the range. You don't want to be screwing around in the middle like this. It's just generally not a terribly good idea. And this is very high. This is a very high move. If we're focusing on using our boxing, we probably have something like this. This is 50%. And so we're probably not going to do anything until prices move a little bit lower. Okay, so there's always a reason not to take a trade, and if it's the right reason, then it's good. We have another one here, probably qualified. It came back, we moved into this area, and then we had maybe 100 to 1. Actually, let's have a look. It's 23. And then we have 19,000. Wait a minute, let me get that right. Okay, we have 28. Then we have 1,000. What is that? 1,900. I mean, it's a huge risk reward. Huge risk reward. Another example here, a low, it was respected and then removed by this. Test, boom, test, boom. Okay, so super cool and interesting update. But my ambition is to get it pushed out into the buy and sell zones and chuck that on the account and see how we fare. But I think it's a very interesting tool, and it works in all of the time frames, of course, like all of the software. It doesn't matter what time frame you're on, but you can just use it on whichever one you're comfortable with. So we had this one here, took this out, test, departure. This one here, departure, tiny test, go. Another one here, took out this high, test, departure. Okay, so these are everywhere. We had this low here, left from here, price went through it. That happens. We had this one here, moved above this high, prices went above, tested it more or less, and then we moved away from there. Okay, so super cool. It works in all time frames. Another one here, huge departure, test, departure, test, departure. So play around with this, see how you get on. If you have any questions about about how to use it, let me know and we'll get into it. The update has already been updated, so you can find it in your downloads once you log on to the Pipnotic site. So do that, and I will answer any questions you might have in the Discord. And thanks for watching.